Welcome. I'm Paul. And sitting here, we can see, this is what, when you first walk through the door, which is right behind me at the entrance to PS Audio, this is our museum. And it covers, well, about 2 walls. This is my wife Terry's pet project, and she's done a great job. We built these cabinets. We start back here with, here, let me show you. I wouldn't be planning on this, but if you want to see this, this is the very first PS Audio product. And back here, this is like number 1 or number 2. It's our little phono preamplifier, and inside is just a simple little board. The sockets are empty, but they had 709 op amps. These are the little trim pots that we use to inject DC voltage. So the 709 op amp, which is a Class B output, would turn into a Class A output. And this is what we sold for $59.95. How many years ago? Back in that. And Stan and I cut every single one of these walnut blocks ourselves. We cut the metal, we bent the metal, we silk screened the metal, we punched every hole in this thing, put in every damn part of this product. I mean, everything. We literally, we made the boards. We soldered everything, we tested everything. So our museum has a whole bunch of good, and it goes on here for, we've been in business for 45 years, so anyway, I'm pretty proud of this. There's the SuperLink and our first CD player. So anyway, okay. Paul, hey, great name, in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. My music listening room, which is 90% classical music, yeah, has an open wall along the left speaker line. In other words, it has no wall next to his left speaker. The system is composed of Spectral amps, very nice, preamps, CD player, and Avalon speakers with MIT cables. Which, sorry, the only reason I laugh is because very often Spectral amps, Avalon speakers, and MIT cables are paired together as a really classic combination, an extremely synergistic combination. I'll bet this sounds great. Really, I mean, this is a classic, expensive, beautiful setup. The speakers are towed in a mild moderate degree, with the left speaker towed in more to help compensate for a lack of reflecting wall. I feel this impedes the soundstage and imaging of the system. Yeah, I'll bet it does. Any thoughts on how my system could be improved due to the wife factor? Let's just say significant other factor. I'm relegated to this listening room, and moving the system is not an option. I get it. I get it. I truly do. You know, we all have to live in harmony with our spouses, and these stereo systems often take up a large percentage of our home. So it makes perfect sense. I mean, I'm fortunate enough to have a dedicated listening room, a man cave, if you will. Could be a woman cave, but it's a dedicated place for a stereo system, which is awesome. But I'm lucky, and I happen to make my living doing this stuff. So it's understandable. Here's what I would do, because I've seen this in a lot of cases where you have an open wall and to the side you have a closed wall, and you really can't change. You can't take the system and turn it this way so that the open wall is to your back. I mean, that would be pretty cool, but let's just suggest that you can't do that. What I would do is go back to a symmetrical positioning of the speakers so that the toe-in and all is correct for the spatial imaging, because Avalon speakers image like crazy. I mean, they're wonderfully imaging speakers, but they do want to have, you do want that tweeter, both tweeters pointed at the same angle to your ear. So let's just imagine that there is no room. That said, set that up to where it's right. Now, you're going to have an imbalance, because the left side has nothing to reflect off of it. So what I would do instead is focus on the right side, okay? Set them up so they're symmetrical. Now, start working with damping materials, with diffusion, and I would probably choose diffusion first, and come up with a way on the other side, on the side where there is a wall, if you can get away with it, to mimic more of the non-reflective characteristics of the left side. And there are ways you can do it to keep spousal happiness in the home. And you might consider some of those. And diffusion would be the first thing that I would settle into. But, I mean, you're kind of stuck. You don't have a perfect room. And let's face it, stereo systems are as dependent on the room as the room is on the stereo system to make it work. So we're trapped. Our rooms are part of the system. We can't think of them as separate. They are every bit a part and as important. I've made this analogy a number of times. If you take your stereo system outside, if I just walk out this front door and I set the IRS up and I crank it up, it's not going to sound very good. That speaker system sounds better in a room than it does outside. Now, no one's going to set it up outside, but to make a point of how important the room is. So we have to deal with our rooms. Sometimes you have to think a little creatively and out of the box, but I would not have towed it differently in order to fix your problem. Do it with the right wall if you can. And if not, email me, paul@psaudio.com, and I'd be happy to work with you individually, as I would with anybody. And if you're ever in the area, if you're in Boulder, you'd be most welcome. Any of you viewers would. Come unannounced. Don't show up on a Saturday, but Monday through Friday, come on down. We'll take care of you, or email me, and I'll do my best to help you out. Great question. Thank you.